the Jays had to make some moves in the bullpen. And one of the relievers they have brought in, and a reliever they're counting on heavily in the 2017 season, is J.P. Howell. And J.P. Howell joins us live from Dunedin on Sportsnet 590 The Fan. J.P., thank you so much for doing this. Greatly appreciate it.
Not a problem, man. Thanks for having me.
The last time you were in the AL East with the Tampa Bay Rays was 2012. You've been in the National League for 4 years. I know you're an older pitcher, but how different are you as a pitcher now compared to your last go-round in the American League East?
Oh, man, it was just, a little bit younger, a little more wiser now, and I got, better training. And nowadays, man, they have scouting reports that are pretty unbelievable. And when I was even as early as 2012, that wasn't the case. So coming in here, I know the vibe. I love it over here. It's a lot more intense in the East than it is in the West, in my opinion. And, I'd say for me, I play off that, and, I'm looking forward to it.
Why is the East such a tough division? Obviously, the teams are good. The ballparks, I know the ballparks are small. They're hitter-friendly parks for the most part. And I know the National League West can be like Death Valley in some of those parks. But is there something else about the way the game is played? Not just the DH, but something else about the way the game is played in the AL East?
I think so. I think that the fans add to it. I mean, there's generations of fans in the East coming out. You got, grandparents and grandchildren hanging out, rooting for their team. And in the West, it's a little different. It's more casual. They go to, for entertainment. And in the East, it's they know stuff about you. They know the game. Not saying the people in the West don't know the game, but in the East, they're really particular. They know manager moves. They know everything. They know the history of the teams usually, and there's a lot more tradition, I think, and therefore a lot more passion behind each team that we go through in the AL East.
Is spring training pretty much the same now for you year in and year out, or does each spring kind of present different challenges? In this case, different. Obviously, you're in Florida. You're not in Arizona. New team, new manager, new catchers, all that stuff. But once you get beyond the actual physical environment, is spring training kind of the same everywhere now for you?
It kind of is. It is to a point. I mean, especially if you're on like the same team, you know what to expect. Here, it's been a great camp so far that's kept us off our feet as much as possible. It takes courage to do that because you're trusting that your players are getting the work in the weight room and on their own, which we are. We're holding each other accountable. And, each season for me personally, it's a little different. I come in, I have things I want to work on from the year before, and I also want to, get better on the things I was good at. So, each year you can, really get better. And there's guys around here you can learn from, whether they be young or old. There's always people you can pick their brains in spring and give you tricks. And when the season starts, that kind of ends a little bit. You kind of get into your own zone, and then you just start the season process.
JP, when I look at your numbers last year, the batting average against lefties was little higher, was a lot higher than your career average. But you also you struck out 22, you walked 4. I mean, your strikeouts to walk ratio against lefties was better, I think, than most of your other seasons. What does that say about it? Like, how would you explain that to a fan? Because clearly you were throwing strikes. It's not like you were walking the park and getting into a lot of trouble against lefties.
Right. I mean, I hate to say anything. I had a lot of soft contact, which was my goal.
Mm-hmm.
And they ended up, some of those balls fell in, and that's the way it goes. And, so definitely noticed that. And I had some of those numbers get skewed in 2 weeks. You have 2 bad weeks, and then those numbers are tough to get down the rest of the year. So if you eliminate about 2 weeks of my season, the numbers are drastically different, and it was early in the season, my second game of the year, second, third game of the year. And there was a stint in August that was pretty tough to get through. And, it's just like any player can say that, but, so my goal is to eliminate, some of the contact. The defense we have behind us is the best in baseball and fielding ground balls. So, that was another reason that was really, really attractive to come here is, knowing the defense plays extremely well, especially for a ground ball pitcher like me.